work so you can play. MiniWarGaming Speed, the cooler, bat rap.
Black Templar's turn 4 begins, and he doesn't have any reserves coming in. He's got nobody coming to try and help him out, so he just starts moving his tanks back. And this tank he actually drives right on forward. He's just going to use it to try and blow up a bunch of gaunts before it goes down, because it's only got one hull point anyway, and he knows it's going to get killed. The land speeders, they spread all out. They're going to try and take down that Trigon. The Trigon does have regeneration, so they have to try and kill it, or it could come or get its wounds back. And his Terminators here, they finally advance up because they know that in the next round he's going to have to fight in close combat. And it is his HQ who's in the front there with the hammer, if you recall. And his other Terminators, they actually move through cover, which doesn't really matter because their rockets can be fired regardless. So he just kind of shimmies around and debates whether or not he wants to jump down, because he's deciding whether he wants to charge in against that big guy, but he may have to, may not. He has a lot of rockets, and the Trigon's not going to get saves against them, so it's just a matter of can he do 6 wounds with like 15 rockets. And let's see if he can. And he moves these guys up. Once again, more models just to have in the way in case he has to charge this thing, because it takes a lot to bring down a Trigon in close combat, because they're quick, and it's got rerolling to hit, and it's got rerolling to wound, and it's got all kinds of stuff, because it's got poisoned attacks. He blows up a bunch of gaunts, tons of them die. These ones, they get cover saves, and then they die as well anyway. And now those were his bolt guns shooting. He starts firing the rockets, does a double snake eyes, fails to do wound with the first crack rockets, fires more crack rockets at it, fails to wound with those. Now he fires the other crack rockets, or no, that was the heavy bolters now. And he does 2 wounds with the heavy bolters, but he makes a save. And now he fires another crack missile, misses the first one, the second one, fails to wound again. So that's 4 rockets and 2 heavy bolters doing nothing to the big guy. Now he fires other missiles at it, and oh, there we go, does 2 wounds, down to 4. Fires the storm bolters that the Terminators carry. They do a bunch of wounds, but he makes his saves. Now he starts firing his pistols from his other groups of Space Marines. A whole bunch of hits, and actually does some wounds, and it makes it save. Oh no, there it is. Takes another, or no, that was him firing another rocket, so it made it saves. Now he's firing his other shots at it and fails to wound it, so it's only down 2 wounds. Now he fires his large blast, aiming at the gaunts in the back there, which does scatter a little bit, but it does clip the Doom, so he may actually kill that thing. And so, yeah, because he scattered off. We were just making sure all the numbers were right. Does a whole bunch of wounds to the gaunts, but they're in cover, but we still lose a couple in the front. And the Doom and the Trigon, Doom's okay, Trigon is nope. Yeah, he's okay. Now he's firing a frag rocket from the Space Marines on the hilltop, which scatters. Oh no, that's a direct hit. Sorry, camera's a little bit off. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, direct hit there, and fires some more rockets, just doing wounds now pretty much, because he wants to try and thin out this herd, but they're sitting behind the wall, so they are getting cover saves, but he's still killing them pretty consistently, so what do cover saves really matter, right? No, they're everything. Get cover saves if you can. Now he's firing frag rockets. That gaunt's technically up on the hill. He just fell down. And this one's another direct hit. So 4 gaunts, 4 wounds, a bunch of times, and those gaunts explode, failing their saves repeatedly. But we still have a few more. 3 more in that unit. And he's got to kill them all, because if he doesn't kill them all, they'll just sit there fearless because of the Trigons that are all over the place. And now he fires another rocket. This one scatters quite a ways, landing right back on those Hormagaunts, because it just wants them dead. And he does another wound, and it's got its little cover save, and it makes it, so he's okay. And the other gaunts, they get shot up by bolt guns, and they fail that, and they die. And that's that. Now he's firing storm bolters from the Terminator squad there, along with their rockets, and first he's doing the 2 frag missiles, and it scatters like 2 inches, still hitting them easily. And I believe he's getting 4 right here, 3 or 4. Does a couple wounds, and then the next shot scatters off, and the last shot, or second last shot, scatters off the other way. I think it hits the Trigon, but he can't even be hurt by this rocket. Or he could, but he needs a 6 to wound him. And another rocket, which does scatter, and once again, going for those Hormagaunts. So on the Trigon, and the little dude, Trigon, nothing. Or the little guy, nothing. Now the Trigon does do a wound on the Trigon, but it's only a frag missile, so he's fine. And now he's firing his bolt guns at those gaunts as well. A whole bunch of shots and a bunch of wounds. fails more saves, more Gaunts die. Now he's charging in with his neophytes, and they fail to make the charge, and it does its stand and shoot against them. Hits one, or not stand and shoot, Overwatch is what it's called in 40k. And the Terminators charge in through difficult terrain, but they make the 6 inches that they need, so here we go, Terminators against the Trigon. And frankly, I don't think they stand a chance, because it's got 3s to hit, re-rolling, 2s to wound, re-rolling, and they've got a 5-up save, and it's going first, so let's see what they can do against this thing. But they all have power fists, so we'll see. Trigon attacks, he's got 6 attacks, re-rolling to hit because he's got 2 sets of Scything Talons, and 2s to wound, and re-rolling because he's got Poison Toxin Sacs, that's what it's called. So 6 5-up saves. He actually makes 3 of them. So 3 Termies go down, but the other 2 still advance, and they get their initiative step move because they have power fists. They move up. They've got 3 attacks each, hitting on 4s. They do 3 hits and 3 wounds, putting it down to 1 wound. So it nearly died right there if he was a little bit luckier. Turn 3 begins for the Tyranids. The other Trigon, he's back, ready to fight with his friend there. He scatters a little bit, but not enough to go off the edge of the board, so he's just kind of sitting next to the tank there. And not sure what happened with the camera there, but anyway, Trigon moves over. He's standing in front of the tank now, staring down all of those little Space Marines. And these Gaunts are moving through difficult terrain. Or no, this is the Psycho check. He's only got +1 to his toughness right now, so he's only toughness 7, strength 7. The Gaunts advance. Finally, we're going to be able to attack that tank, and they are leaving the bubble of the Tervigon, so they still have their adrenal glands toxin sacs that the Tervigon's got. And the Hormagaunts, who already have those, are moving up as well. So the Gaunts are just getting ready because we're finally going to get to fight them in close combat. The whole game, been gearing up for this, but this is it. This is the turn we're going to make it. The Trigon, it moves over the hilltop, glaring at all of those little Space Marines there, and the Doom, once again, just wandering around. No one wonders what he does, but he creeps around in the back there. And the little Gaunts here, I don't know what I want to do with them, so I just kind of move them around. I guess they're a bit too close to that tank right there, but oh, there we go. And no, they sit there like that. These Gaunts move up. They're going to just try and glance this tank to death. That way it doesn't blow up and kill them all, because if I sent like a Trigon in to do it, that was what would happen. So we send our HQ Tervigon, or no, the other Tervigon, the last HQ Tervigon's in the back there. He moves up as well. And if all else fails, I guess he can assault the tank and blow it up if the Gaunts can't do it. So I'll probably send him in as well, because he's initiative 1, so they'll get to attack first. If they fail to do it, then he'll get to attack, and that way we can at least make sure that it dies. These Gaunts, I'm measuring, just seeing how far I've got to go to get the whole distance to charge him. So they move through cover, which they get 6, so they come running out. But they're going to need something like an 8 or something like that in order to make this charge. But they do have fleet, so they're going to be re-rolling. Hopefully they can make it in. And they are leaving Synapse from the Tervigons, but the Trigon still is also a Synapse creature because he is a Trigon Prime, which is definitely a bonus. And these Gaunts also continue to move up, hitting behind the 2 Tervigons and the Hormagaunts. Just more bodies for if anything happens in the back there. And the Gaunts in the far back, they just kind of pass their instinctive behavior. So they hang out on the objective, because we forgot to have been rolling it, because it doesn't really matter. If they even fail, they're going to just sit on the objective anyway, so they're doing what I want them to do. And shooting phase begins. This is the Tervigon shooting at, or Trigon shooting at all of those Space Marines, and does a wound for sure. Oh yeah, it was just re-rolling to wound. Anyway, and it does end up doing 2 wounds. And oh, that was my mistake. That was the Tervigon shooting at the vehicle, and then it was 6s to pen and 5s to glance. Okay, my mistake there. So that little speeder, it goes down thanks to the Trigon blasting away with its little spines. And now we've got the Tervigons using their psychic abilities, because they've all got smite, if you'll recall, and so they've got their body shots as well as their smite, because we weren't sure whether or not you can use a psychic shooting and a regular shooting, and he agreed that I could, so I do use both. If that is a mistake, then let us know in the comments below. But now they're firing, the other Tervigon's shooting, and they really don't do any damage with it anyway, so 1 shot and fails to wound. So that's pretty much it for that. The Doom, he runs, moving an inch, just kind of trying to find a spot on there where he can stand without falling over. And now the Gaunts, they assault the tank. They make it. And yep. The Tervigon, it's going to assault those Terminators, and the Terminators get to Overwatch, but they do have rockets, which I kind of forgot about. So he hits them with one of the crack missiles and one of the bolt guns. So with that, he does a wound with the crack missile and fails to wound with the bolt gun, and he fails his cover save. So Tervigon takes a wound, but he then promptly rushes in and crushes those filthy Terminators, or at least he's going to try. He's got Scything Talons and like Crushing Claws, or no, the big one over there is Crushing Claws, I think. Anyway, you'll see in a moment as they charge in. And the Gaunts, they all swarm up against the side of the tank there, and the other Gaunts swarm up against the side of the tank, and the big Trigon in the back, he goes up against it. Tervigon, Trigon, Tervigon. Tervigons are what I'm using right now, and the Gaunts, they can reroll, but they fail. I think they needed a 9, that's right. I say 8, it's because I rolled an 8. They didn't make the charge. These Gaunts, they barely make it on a 3, rushing in as close as they can, and the Hormagaunts behind them, they need what looks like a 9, and they can re-roll that because they have fleet. So they rush in with their 9-inch charge, and so my Gaunts are in. Which is definitely a good thing because we're going to need every Hormagaunt we can to try and break that. Here we've got the Tervigon, or Trigon Prime. He's just eating those Terminators. They shouldn't survive a second round. They were lucky the first time. This time, 6 more wounds. And he's got to make 6 5-ups, or at least 5. That way he'd have still 1 guy left. And at that point, it just doesn't happen. So that goes down. I forgot this turn to do regeneration. And so I'm pretty sure he lets me do it at the end of the turn here. But I think it doesn't happen. Anyway, so the Gaunts all attack the tank here, and they've got 2 attacks each, strength 4, 3s to hit, and 6s to glance. They get a whole bunch of glances, and just like that, tank gets wrecked, which is great. That way the Tervigon didn't have to fight it, so he didn't have to blow it up. These Gaunts and the Hormagaunts, they all swarm in against this tank over here, hitting on 3s, and the Hormagaunts can reroll 1s because they've got a set of Scything Talons. Glancing on 6s, and they only get like 1 glance, but then the Gaunts themselves attack, and they get a bunch of hits, and they do the 2 glances themselves. So 3 Gaunts blew up that other tank. The Tervigon, it then gets to attack, and he actually challenges it because it's a character, and the other ones move off to fight the other Tervigon. So we're having a bit of a debate here whether or not that guy can leave, because he's technically in base contact already, but it is a challenge, and so anyway, this Tervigon with its Crushing Claws, it attacks, it gets D3 extra attacks. We're all at initiative 1 anyway, but I'm hitting on 4s, re-rolling the 1s because he's got 1 set of Scything Talons, so he gets 3 hits and 3 wounds, which he promptly, we roll everything first, so now he's attacking over here. He's got like 5 or 6 attacks, hitting on 3s and wounding on 2s, because I totally underestimated how strong these Terminators would be against my Tervigon, and he gets splattered just like that. But there are no Gaunts nearby this time, and he did go down, killing 3 of them, so that's good to see. This Tervigon, it does its Crushing Claws, only gets 1 additional attack, and so he's got 5 hit attacks, hitting on 4s, re-rolling 1s. He gets 4 hits and wounding on 2s, 6 wounds, or 4 wounds. He's got a 3-up invuln though, so he only takes 1 wound, and at this point I'm worried because, I mean, those other Terminators smash that other Tervigon. This one's his big HQ. He gets 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, and wounding on 2s. 1 wound. So Tervigon only takes 1. He is down to 4, and here it is at the end of turn 3. Not looking good for the Black Templars, but they've got a lot of Space Marines left. And so it's really going to come down to that combat, because if he can kill my Warlord, then he'll win. If I can kill his Warlord, then I'll win. Or at least if he can kill mine, he can tie the game, because then I'm going to get Linebreaker. But anyway, stay tuned for part 4. Find out how it ends in this Tyranid and Black Templar bat rep.